I guess hopefully as we experience more of life, we learn more about ourselves and we learn more about the world around us, and we kind of like refine who we are as people as our personality and our identity expands, and hopefully our life around us expands with it. Hey guys, it's Agnes. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. I am a psychiatric nurse and therapist, and I'm here to make silly little bite-sized videos about mental health topics that may or may not interest you. I hope they interest you. Anyway, less babbling. I am here to talk about nostalgia. You know, the warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you think about your childhood or the past in some way. I think the question I'm mostly here to pose is it warm and fuzzy, or is it actually quite sad? I've been thinking about this recently because I had an experience in my life that was making me think a lot about nostalgia. So I'm going to start this video with just this story, and then I'm going to kind of flesh out how I dealt with it myself. So I had a really, really large group of friends in my teens and going into my 20s, and I was always really kind of proud of, one, like kind of how big this group was, two, that we'd all stayed in contact with each other. We'd known each other, some of the relationships going back to like primary school, even nursery, and a lot of them I had known since I was about 15, 16. So it was kind of really impressive to still be hanging out with the same people well into your 20s. And we had like a really big kind of like partying lifestyle going on. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Is it Skins? Is it Skins, that show where they had those crazy parties? There'd be lots of drugs and they would just like trash a house. That was me. That was me. When we were in our early 20s, we would compare a lot of our parties to those kinds of parties. They were awesome, right? They were awesome. They were for a very unique age and stage of my life. I'm not capable of partying like that anymore. So this friend group, it's still sort of in my life, but due to a number of factors, some of them being like a relationship ending and some other kind of complex things, a relationship that I was with someone in the group, became really distant from them. And over the years, I've kind of had reasons, like people are getting married now, so I've had reasons to kind of have contact with them again, or there's been like somebody celebrating a big birthday, so I'll have contact with them again. And whenever I'm around them, there is a kind of nice warm feeling about like, oh, remember this from 15 years ago? Like not a lot of people can say that with their friend group. So when I was with them, there were parts of it that like were quite nice, but there was also some quite painful bits that came along with that. There was a feeling of like, oh, well, why don't I make more of an effort with these people? Why don't I see them when I'm like sober? And why don't they make more of an effort to me and actually with me, sorry. And over the years, there were some things that I had been kind of excluded from, and that also brought about quite a lot of pain. And actually, recently, I kind of had the opportunity to either include them in something or exclude them. And when I really thought about my feelings towards the individuals in this group, there's a handful of them that I'm incredibly close with, absolutely, that I would always maintain a relationship with. But the majority, they're drinking buddies. The majority of them I'm not really close with. And actually, if I do ever have a sense of being really close when I'm with them, it's nostalgia. I feel close because it makes me think of myself in my 20s. It makes me think of when I was at university. It makes me think of me, the kind of person I was when I was in the relationship with the guy who's also part of that friend group. I hope you guys are managing to keep up. But do I actually purely enjoy my relationship with these people? No, because there's actually not much of a relationship there at all, and there hasn't been. But what I have been doing in myself is creating these kind of warm, cuddly feelings for the sake of nostalgia. And when I connect with these people, actually a lot of what I'm doing is connecting to my younger self at that part of my life. And that even doesn't feel very good. I wouldn't trade who I am now for the younger version of me. Like, I love who I am now. And back then I was a reckless baby. I have a lot of compassion for who I was back there, but my God, what was I thinking? You know, what was I thinking? I have entirely lost my train of thought. Please hold. I firmly believe, this is where I'm gonna start. I have lost my train of thought. I'm gonna start somewhere else. I firmly believe that it is a wonderful thing to progress in your life and to move on and to grow. And I don't mean it in that like really nasty, toxic hustle culture of like, you need to be constantly improving, you total loser. Why don't you get up at 4 a.m. and go work out for 2 hours and then meditate for 2 hours? Your life now. I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it in like a boss babe, hustle culture, gross kind of way. But what I do mean is that, like, I guess hopefully as we experience more of life, we learn more about ourselves and we learn more about the world around us, and we kind of like refine who we are as people, as our personality and our identity expands, and hopefully our life around us expands with it. And we make different choices. We choose different friends over the years. We choose different jobs, different locations, different relationships, and that's like beautiful. But I firmly believe that with each stage of your life, you cannot get the new thing without letting some stuff go. Because if you hold on to yourself from the past, you're never going to be able to become yourself from the future. From the future. From the future.
Doc. I'm from the future.
So to come back to my friend group, I kind of came to a conclusion at the beginning of the year, whilst talking actually to a member of this friend group who I'm still incredibly close with. I kind of came to the conclusion that I've really been holding on to some stuff here, and I think it's time to let it go. I think it's time to let go of the idea that we're still functioning in the way that we were in our 20s. Because I mean, not only has everybody changed, but I think within that group, we've all actually selected the few people that we really, really align with, that we're genuinely close with. And a lot of the other people have become kind of casual drinking buddies. And maybe even actually some of those we're really ready to let go, because like my relationship with partying has changed, my relationship with alcohol has changed, and my relationship with like just how I want to spend my time, all of that has changed, how I value my health. I'm not saying that I don't drink anymore, because I do, but not as much as I used to. That used to be a lot. a lot. Please hold. Man, I do feel pretty scattered today in my my thinking about this. I think it's because I've got like 3 different ideas of videos I want to film in my head, and all of this is just existing in my brain because, as you guys know, I don't do a script.
Maybe this is the telling me that I should start though.
I don't know. Essentially, my point is that I think nostalgia can be very misleading. I think nostalgia can kind of like dupe us into thinking that it's like quite nice to feel nostalgic. But actually, if we like look under the surface level of nostalgia, actually what can exist underneath is really quite a lot of pain. I think there can be pain associated with kind of thinking about things from the past that we've maybe not entirely let go of. You know, there can be like a grappling. And actually, if we looked closely, we probably really don't want those things of the past. Because I mean, for example, if I'd held on to that friend group too tightly, then that would essentially, I think, make me still the kind of person I was in my 20s. And I'm glad I'm not the person I was in my 20s. I'm glad I've moved on. The relationships I do have are incredible. And I know as you get older, it can be harder to prioritize relationships, you know, as people kind of like have kids, get married, their priorities kind of shift. But there's some of my friends from that friend group that they moved away from the place that I live in Scotland. They moved away years ago. One of my best friends, we haven't lived in the same place for 8 years. So like seeing each other is really difficult, but because we've made that effort, we still have an incredibly close relationship. And in fact, she's one of my bridesmaids. So I don't think it's about, I think it comes down to priorities. And essentially, I just realized that it was really time to kind of let go of the way I thought about that friend group. And not that I'm saying I'll kind of never see them again. I think I probably will. But now when I see them, I think I'll be able to appreciate it for what it is rather than sort of having this quite painful hankering for the past. And I'll be able to just be like, yeah, you're a person that I was close with once. And it's like nice to see you, you know? Well, guys, that is all for this video. I just wanted to touch on nostalgia and hopefully encourage you all to reflect a little bit about whether it's actually serving you or not, and to kind of dig a little bit deeper in yourself and find out, is it warm and fuzzy or is it kind of
dark and painful and really making you sad?
Okay, guys, please leave a like, please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or feelings about nostalgia. If you have been duped into thinking that nostalgia is a nice thing, I would argue that it isn't. And I actually, I listened to a Sounds Like a Cult podcast episode about the cult of nostalgia. So that's really, really interesting to listen to. I would totally check it out if you get the opportunity. I love that podcast. They cover a lot of really kind of culty things, and the cult of nostalgia is very interesting, and how kind of various companies have played into our feelings of nostalgia with marketing and stuff. So yeah, absolutely fascinating. If you guys made it to this point in the video, please comment, nostalgia is not my friend. Sounds harsh, but I really feel quite strongly that nostalgia is not your friend if you look at it closely. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe if you aren't already. I make a ton of little videos like this. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon. Take good care. Bye.